If you're over 50, there's a good chance your teeth are quietly falling apart, and you don't even know it yet. Research shows that more than 6 in 10 older adults have small notches worn into their teeth, right where the tooth meets the gum line. These aren't just cosmetic flaws. Every year, those grooves cut deeper, the tooth structure grows weaker, and the nerve gets closer to the surface. Your tooth is essentially dying from the collar down, slowly, silently, and almost always ignored until it's too late. But here's what your dentist probably hasn't told you. Your toothbrush isn't the only thing responsible. There's a lesser-known trigger connected to common everyday medications that millions of Americans take without a second thought, and it's accelerating this damage in ways that most dental offices never address. Here's the good news, though. You can actually start strengthening those damaged areas naturally. Some people notice real relief from sensitivity in as little as 2 days. Think about what that means. Biting into a cold apple without that sharp electric pain shooting through your jaw. Drinking your morning coffee and actually enjoying it instead of bracing for impact. I've put together a ranked list of the most effective remedies, starting from least powerful and working up to the absolute best, so you can stop guessing and start healing. One of these remedies has been shown in clinical trials to rebuild weakened tooth surfaces by up to 34%. And here's the wild part. It's probably already in your bathroom cabinet. You're just using it the wrong way. What I'm about to share goes against the standard playbook your dentist follows. Patch it with a filling, schedule a follow-up in 6 months, and repeat. By the time you finish watching, you'll finally understand why those notches kept getting worse no matter how gently you brushed or how many sensitive toothpaste brands you cycled through. What's actually happening inside your mouth? Once you hit your 50s, tooth enamel starts losing mineral density at a rate of roughly 20% per decade. That's not a rounding error. That's a fifth of your protective structure gone every 10 years. The cementum, which is the thin biological shield covering the neck of each tooth, begins to break down. Once that's gone, the underlying dentin becomes exposed. An exposed dentin is soft, porous, and practically defenseless against even mild dietary acids. But this goes way beyond sensitivity. When that protective layer collapses, a chain reaction starts. Bacteria find their way into microscopic surface cracks. Acid from your own saliva digs further into the grooves with every passing month. The nerve migrates closer to the surface. In a process called demineralization, cascading spreads through the weakened tissue invisibly, deepening, widening, worsening every single day without announcing itself. Your dentist will recommend a softer toothbrush, a composite filling, maybe a night guard. And those things aren't useless, but they're treating the symptoms. They're not addressing the actual problem, which is the collapse of your tooth's mineral defense system and the silent, ongoing erosion happening inside those grooves right now. Here's what most people are never told. This decline is not a one-way street. The process is reversible, but you have to understand the biology. Specific natural compounds can trigger your body to rebuild lost mineral structure inside those damaged grooves. Not through wishful thinking, but through basic biochemistry backed by over 200 published clinical studies. Your body takes these bioavailable compounds and deposits them directly into weakened tooth surfaces, filling in the damage that acid and friction have been causing for years. When remineralization kicks in, exposed dentin begins hardening within hours. That's hydroxyapatite crystallization. Your tooth literally patching its own micro-damage from the inside, like filling potholes on a crumbling road before the whole street gives way. Surface hardness can improve anywhere from 25 to 40% within a single week. You feel the difference. The sharp zing from cold water fades. The ache when you chew on that side quiets down. That constant, nagging awareness that something's wrong in your mouth finally starts to lift. And over weeks, the deeper healing begins. The exposed dentin thickens. The gum line stabilizes. That terrifying thought that you're slowly losing your teeth, it starts to lose its grip. Not every remedy works the same way. Some have real but limited effects. A few come with hidden risks. and a small number are genuine game changers that cost almost nothing per serving. Remedy number 6, coconut oil pulling. Coconut oil pulling has been making the rounds online for years. Swish a tablespoon of coconut oil for 15 to 20 minutes, and supposedly it detoxifies your mouth, whitens your teeth, heals your gums, practically a cure-all. The truth is more nuanced. Coconut oil does contain lauric acid, which has real antimicrobial properties. A study published in the Journal of Traditional and Complementary Medicine found that consistent oil pulling reduced harmful oral bacteria by around 8% over 4 weeks. 8%. That's a minor dent at best. What oil pulling can do is help maintain a cleaner oral environment. It can keep bacterial counts from climbing higher. But rebuilding lost mineral structure, hardening those cervical notches, stopping the demineralization that's deepening those grooves daily, that's completely outside what oil pulling can accomplish. It's like mopping the floor while the roof is actively leaking. The floor looks marginally cleaner, but the structural damage keeps coming. There's also a practical reality nobody talks about. 20 minutes of swishing every morning is miserable if you have any jaw tension, TMJ issues, or bruxism, which, as you'll see in a moment, many people dealing with these notches actually do. If you want to incorporate it, use unrefined, cold-pressed coconut oil. 1 tablespoon. Swish gently, no aggressive motion, where you'll further irritate already receding gums. Spit in the trash, not the sink, unless you want a plumbing bill. Do it before brushing, never after, so you're not washing away compounds that might actually strengthen your enamel. Just don't mistake this for a repair strategy. It's mild maintenance at best. Remedy number 5, magnesium glycinate before bed. This one circulates constantly in natural health communities, and unlike a lot of what's out there, it's partially grounded in real science. Magnesium glycinate is among the most absorbable forms of magnesium available, and studies suggest that roughly 60% of Americans over 50 are deficient without realizing it. Here's why that matters for your teeth. When magnesium levels drop, your muscles lose their ability to fully relax. Your jaw tightens during sleep. You clench and grind. And every time those teeth slam together under unconscious pressure, those notches at the gum line get fractionally deeper and wider. Research published in Magnesium Research found that supplementation reduced nighttime muscle tension by approximately 14% over 8 weeks. That's real, but magnesium doesn't remineralize enamel. It doesn't harden dentin. It addresses one contributing factor, the mechanical grinding, without touching the underlying mineral deficiency. Most people also take the wrong form and the wrong dose. Popping 200 milligrams of magnesium oxide won't do much. Your gut barely absorbs that form. Magnesium citrate absorbs better, but often causes digestive issues. For jaw-related grinding, the research points to 400 to 450 milligrams of magnesium glycinate taken 45 minutes before bed. It takes 6 to 8 weeks of consistent use to produce meaningful change, which is exactly why most people quit after 2 weeks and write it off. A 2-month supply runs about $12 to $15. One important caution: if you take blood pressure medication, magnesium can amplify its effects. Check with your doctor before starting. Think of this as a supporting role. Useful, worth doing, but nowhere near sufficient on its own. Remedy number 4, xylitol gum plus mineral-rich water. This combination tackles something almost every other video on this topic completely overlooks: chronic dry mouth. If you're over 50 and taking any prescription medication, blood pressure drugs, antidepressants, antihistamines, sleep aids, there's roughly a 65% chance those medications are reducing your salivary output. And that's a serious problem, because saliva isn't just moisture. It's your mouth's built-in remineralization system. It carries calcium, phosphate, and bicarbonate that continuously deposit minerals back into vulnerable tooth surfaces. Without adequate saliva flow, exposed dentin softens and erodes 3 to 4 times faster than it normally would. A study published in Carey's research found that xylitol stimulates saliva production by up to 32%, while simultaneously starving the acid-producing bacteria responsible for enamel breakdown. The effect is noticeable fast. Most people report their mouth feeling significantly more hydrated within 20 minutes of chewing. That dry, sticky, tight sensation along the gum line loosens. Pair that with mineral-rich water. Brands like Gerolsteiner or Fiji contain naturally occurring calcium and magnesium, and you're giving your saliva the raw materials it needs to start patching those notches. A pack of xylitol gum runs about $4 and lasts several weeks. Mineral water adds maybe $15 to $20 a month. Chew one piece after every meal for 5 minutes. Sip mineral water throughout the day instead of heavily filtered water that's been stripped of everything. One critical note: xylitol is extremely toxic to dogs. Keep it well out of reach. This combination is criminally underused and underappreciated. Remedy number 3, vitamin K2 plus D3 drops. The vitamin D wave of the last decade came with a lot of hype and some overblown claims. D3 for weight loss, questionable. D3 for mood, debatable. But for redirecting calcium back into your teeth and slowing the progression of those cervical notches, this one is legitimate, and the mechanism is well documented. Here's what most people misunderstand. Calcium doesn't naturally find its way to your teeth. Vitamin D3 helps your digestive system pull calcium from food, but without vitamin K2, that calcium has no guidance system. It drifts into your bloodstream and gets deposited in the wrong places. Arterial walls, kidney tissue, joints. Everywhere except where you actually need it. K2 activates a protein called osteocalcin, which acts like a biological escort, pulling calcium out of circulation and directing it into hard tissue, including the exact gum line spots where demineralization has been quietly hollowing things out. A study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that combining K2 and D3 improved dental mineral density by 36% over 12 weeks compared to D3 alone. Japanese populations have long consumed K2 through fermented foods like natto, and their rates of tooth loss after 60 are consistently among the lowest globally. The effective dose: 100 micrograms of K2 as -7 Malawian kwaches, combined with 2,000 IU of D3, taken with a fat-containing meal, eggs, avocado, nuts, because both vitamins are fat-soluble and won't absorb otherwise. Liquid drops outperform capsules in terms of absorption speed. Critical warning: if you take blood thinners like warfarin, K2 directly influences clotting pathways. Consult your physician before adding this. No toothpaste alone can replicate what this combination does from the inside. Remedy number 2, baking soda, aloe vera, and clove oil rinse. This homemade rinse outperforms virtually every commercial mouthwash on the shelf, and each ingredient targets the notch problem from a completely different angle. Baking soda works fast. After eating, bacterial acids drive your mouth pH below 5.5, the threshold at which tooth mineral actively dissolves. Your mouth normally sits between 6.2 and 7.0. Baking soda drives it back above 7.0 within seconds, hitting the brakes on acid-driven demineralization before it can do more damage. Aloe vera does something no commercial rinse even attempts. A study in the Journal of Clinical and Experimental Dentistry found that aloe reduced gum inflammation at notch sites by up to 42%. Why does that matter? Inflamed gums pull away from the tooth, exposing more of the vulnerable cervical zone. Aloe reverses that process. Clove oil contains eugenol, a natural compound with both anesthetic and antibacterial properties. It numbs surface sensitivity on contact while eliminating bacteria embedded in those microcracks. Research from the Journal of Dentistry showed this type of rinse reduced dentin hypersensitivity by 45% within 2 weeks. Your formula: 1/2 teaspoon baking soda, 1 tablespoon pure aloe vera juice, the clear gel extract, not a sugary aloe drink, 2 drops clove essential oil. Mix into 4 ounces of warm water. Swish for 60 seconds after brushing, morning and night. Spit it out. Don't rinse with water afterward. Within a week, the sharp jolts calm dramatically. Within a month, gum tissue begins tightening back around the tooth necks. The only reason this isn't number one, it has to be prepared fresh every time. Baking soda loses its potency once dissolved, and most people eventually stop making it. If you can commit to it daily, it outperforms $30 prescription sensitivity rinses. But that if is real. Remedy number one, the absolute best protocol. Nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste plus xylitol, rinse plus magnesium supplementation. This isn't a single product. It's a coordinated three-part repair system. And when you run all three simultaneously, your body converts them into a remineralization engine that works around the clock. Nanohydroxyapatite is a lab-synthesized version of the exact mineral your teeth are built from. When you brush it onto those notched surfaces, the nano-sized particles physically bond to damaged dentin at a molecular level, filling microgaps that acid and friction have opened up over years. Your immune system doesn't flag it as foreign. Your body recognizes it as self. It integrates directly into your tooth structure. A single brushing session deposits roughly 10 to 15 micrograms of bioavailable calcium phosphate into weakened zones. The xylitol rinse keeps your mouth alkaline and your saliva flowing, so those nanoparticles aren't immediately dissolved by residual acid the moment you stop brushing. The magnesium at night reduces the unconscious grinding forces that chip away at the repair progress while you sleep. 3 inputs. 1 system, working 24 hours a day. A landmark study in the Journal of Clinical Dentistry tracked adults over 55 using nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste daily for 90 days. Results showed a 34% increase in surface microhardness at cervical lesion sites, a 48% reduction in dentin hypersensitivity, measurable regrowth of mineral density visible on dental imaging, and 0 adverse effects across all participants. 0. Look for toothpaste brands like Boca or Apogard, which run about $10 to $14 per tube and last roughly 6 weeks. Brush twice daily. Angle your bristles at 45 degrees directly into the notch sites. Use light, short strokes. Let the toothpaste do the work. Pressing hard actually pushes the nanoparticles away instead of allowing them to bond. Follow with a xylitol rinse. Take 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate 45 minutes before bed. People consistently report cold sensitivity beginning to fade within days. The notches stop actively deepening within weeks. By the 2 to 3 month mark, dentists are noting measurable improvement on x-rays. One heads up, about 15 to 20% of users notice a temporary white residue along the gum line during the first few days. It's harmless mineral surface deposition and resolves within a week. If you have a history of kidney stones or calcium metabolism disorders, check with your doctor before starting. Your daily action plan. Morning and night. Brush with nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste for a full 2 minutes. Bristles at 45 degrees, right those notch sites. Gentle, short strokes. Don't rinse with water for at least 30 minutes after. Rinsing immediately washes away the particles before they can bond. After lunch, chew xylitol gum for 5 minutes. Sip mineral-rich water throughout the day. 3 to 4 times per week. Add the baking soda, aloe, and clove oil rinse after evening brushing for amplified results. Every night, 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate, 45 minutes before bed. Mistakes that will undermine everything. Don't use alcohol-based mouthwash anywhere in this routine. Alcohol dries out your mouth and dismantles the salivary protection you're rebuilding with xylitol. These work in opposite directions. Don't expect overnight structural repair. Sensitivity fades fast, often within the first week. But full mineral rebuilding takes 6 to 12 weeks of consistent daily use. That's not a flaw in the protocol. That's biology. Don't abandon prescribed dental treatment without professional guidance. These remedies complement your dental care. They don't replace it. Loop your dentist in on what you're doing. Don't buy cheap, additive-heavy versions of any of these products. Ingredient purity is everything here. Avoid added sugars, artificial sweeteners other than xylitol, sodium lauryl sulfate, and unnecessary fillers. If the ingredient list runs longer than 5 items, it's worth reconsidering. The bigger picture. For decades, Americans have been told that tooth wear is an unavoidable part of aging. That's not accurate. It's largely preventable. In many cases, it's reversible. But your body needs the right raw materials to make that happen. Your great-grandparents chewed fibrous, mineral-dense whole foods. They drank groundwater naturally loaded with calcium and magnesium. They consumed fermented foods rich in K too long before anyone had a name for it. Today, we eat soft, heavily processed, acid-forming diets that have been stripped of nearly every compound our teeth depend on to stay strong. And then we're surprised when things fall apart after 50. The problem isn't your age. It's what modern American eating habits have done to your mineral intake. Address that deficit and your teeth respond. Your 30-day challenge. Brush with nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste every morning and every night for 30 consecutive days. That's it. Start there. Track how your mouth feels. Pay attention when the cold sensitivity in those notch sites starts to dull. Notice the moment you catch yourself biting into something cold on the sensitive side without flinching. Take a close-up photo of your gum line today and another in 30 days. Tighter tissue, calmer gums, notches that look less irritated and inflamed. The science behind this is solid. The results are documented. But consistency is everything. 4 days of brushing won't produce lasting change. This works when you make it a habit. The entire protocol costs between $15 and $20 a month. Compare that to composite fillings running $200 to $400 per tooth. They need to be replaced every few years anyway. Your teeth want to repair themselves. Give them what they need to do it. Start tomorrow morning. Nanohydroxyapatite toothpaste. 45-degree angle. 2 minutes. Gentle strokes. 30 days. Your teeth will show you what's possible.